Hi, my name is Nuala Collins and I work as a dietitian. I want to talk to you about nutrition during pregnancy. There are special foods that you should choose during this time, and pregnancy really is an incentive to start eating in a healthy way. Lots of people are well-meaning, they intend to get around to healthy eating, but pregnancy is a great incentive to get started. You will have to make special food choices, and the easiest way to explain all of your nutritional requirements is really to go through a healthy eating plan, a day's menu. So starting with breakfast then. Oats are a really good choice because they help fill you up and keep you going for longer. They're also rich in soluble fibre, which is good for your digestion, and they're naturally rich in iron. Now, you need a lot of iron during pregnancy. Many Irish women come into pregnancy with a low iron intake. We know this from the National Adult Nutrition Survey just published. And in fact, 2/3 of Irish women are in this category with low iron intakes. So you really do need to look towards iron-rich foods, and oats are a really rich source. But wheat-based cereals are also a good source, so equally this could be a wheaten cereal. Combine vitamin C with an iron-rich food because vitamin C helps with the absorption. So it can be a whole fruit like a citrus fruit, grapefruit or orange, or it can be juice. The other thing about breakfast is that you cannot skip breakfast. Breakfast really is king. And even at the weekends, if you get up later, push breakfast out and make sure that you have the meal and have lunch later and dinner later. Moving on to snacks then. Snacks are a really good way to top up your energy intake, but you have to be careful that you choose healthy snacks. Pregnancy is not a time to snack on all your favorite confectionery foods because the expected weight gain during pregnancy is just 10 to 12 kilos. And if you start to eat lots and lots of confectionery foods, you will end up with an excessive weight gain, and that can be really difficult to shift after pregnancy. So go for healthy snacks. You definitely need energy. So things like whole grain scone and jam, yogurt or fruit are all ideal choices. Yogurt is a really good idea. Make sure that you always have a yogurt every day because your calcium needs increase by 50% during pregnancy. And milky tea and coffee, lots of milk on breakfast cereal and yogurts are a really good way to increase your calcium intake. The fruit has lots of fibre in it. Unfortunately, piles and hemorrhoids are a common feature in late pregnancy, and so a good fruit and vegetable intake will help with your fibre intake and it'll help prevent that particular condition. You'll have noticed that I didn't mention tea or coffee at breakfast time, and that's because there's a limit on the amount of caffeine that's recommended during pregnancy. It's just 2 cups a day. If you're really partial to tea or coffee, and you can't do with that limit or you can't work within that limit, then maybe decaf tea or coffee is the great alternative for you. But otherwise, with regular tea and coffee, it's just 2 cups per day. We don't recommend it at breakfast time because the caffeine and the tannin will block iron absorption. So keep it till mid-morning or mid-afternoon, but stay within the limits. Moving on to lunch then. The ideal combination of foods is soup, a sandwich and some fruit. Soup is very often considered as a winter food, but actually it's good to have all year round. It should be a soup from the fridge in the supermarket because that means it won't be excessively high in salt. Tinned and packet soups are too high in salt. The soup that's from the fridge is also usually milk-based, and so it's a good source of calcium, and it's a good way to help top up your calcium requirements. Your sandwich should contain a protein filling and some sort of salad vegetables. By protein, I mean meat, fish, eggs, cheese, chicken. Low-fat cheese is a good source of calcium, and tinned fish. The softened bones of tinned fish are also a good source of calcium, so sardines or salmon would be a good choice there. When it comes to fruit, the more colour that you can eat, the better. The more colour means the greater variety of vitamins and minerals. And all of these foods that I've included here have a high fibre content, and that's going to be really good for your digestive system throughout pregnancy. Now, once you start to increase your fibre intake, you also need a high fluid intake because fibre absorbs about 4 times its own weight in water. So have a glass of water with meals and between meals. And on to the main meal of the day. It doesn't matter what time of the day you have this main meal. It can be lunchtime or it can be in the evening. The important thing is that you get the balance of nutrients right here. There should be some protein. By that I mean some meat, fish or chicken. Fish is recommended 2 times in the week, 1 portion of oily fish or 1 portion of white. Oily fish is salmon, herring, mackerel or trout. There are limits on tuna fish, and you should not eat tuna fish more than twice in the week. But it's always a good idea to have lots of variety. So include red meat 2 to 3 times a week, and the dark meat in chicken and turkey are also a really good source of iron along with red meat. So mix up your sources of protein and then always have some carbohydrate on the plate. So by that I mean some bread, pasta, potatoes or rice. The whole grain varieties are best, but basmati, for example, which I have here, is also a very good option. Make sure that you have plenty of colour on the plate and that you go for lots of different vegetables, either cooked vegetables or salad vegetables. Now this main meal is also a great time to have a glass of milk to top up your calcium intakes. If you're not a good milk drinker, you will need to think about calcium supplements. But really, it's always better to get your nutrition by knife and fork if you can, or in this case, by glass.